to see was the do while part. And today we'll start with arrays. And arrays is not too much. So I think we'll see a program with while loop, how we can use the while loop. And then in arrays, we'll see how to use the for loop. And we'll also see how to use the fall through that we saw last day in switches, and also the break and continue, a formal definition of break first, and then what is continue, I'll explain. So first things first is that I've written the definitions of counter control loop and sentinel control loop. That is counter control loop, uh, excuse me, the counter control loop, just a second. Okay, so counter control loop is a loop that runs until a counter value reaches a particular number by increasing or decreasing. Okay, now you can see better, I guess. So until the counter reaches a particular value, and in each iteration, we either decrease the counter value or increase the counter value depending on our.
Suhag, are you sharing?
Oh, sorry, my bad. I
Okay.
forgot to share. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess the screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Yeah. Sorry for that. So as I was saying that I've written the counter control definition. Basically, as I said, that the counter control loop runs for a particular number of times, and you can guess that value, or you can deduce that value by looking at the code only. You don't have to like see the output to guess that. But in sentinel control loop, there is no way we can deduce the value how many times the loop will run. That is only possible by seeing the output. And if we print something for each iteration. So if you're confused what is iteration, so each run of the loop, so I'll just write a simple while loop, I less than 5, see out. Okay. Okay, sorry, I by mistake added. So I was doing a code in C actually. So I was just testing a code on C. So all C codes run on CPP. So that's a good thing, because CPP is a superset of C, and C is a subset. So as you know, like superset is the big class. So everything under that is compatible with the big thing. So I was just testing. So that's why there was an stdioh. Don't get confused. So this is a simple while loop. And each time the loop runs, so I have to give the counter. Each time the loop runs, it's called an iteration. So you can see this loop will run till I values for 0 to 4. So we have 5 iterations because 0 to 4 is 5 times. So this loop has a total number of 5 iterations. So what I was saying was, okay, so the counter control in counter control loop, if each time for each iteration, that means each time the loop runs, we either increment the control value or decrement depending on our uh, necessity. That is, if you wanted to run this loop uh, from say 6 to 0, that is 7 times, we would have decremented it. And just the vice versa, if you want to run from 0 to 6, we want to increment it. So it all depends on our necessity or the program's aim. That is that. So that's while loop, that's sentinel controlled and counter controlled. You can drop your questions. Meanwhile, I'll just write the do while syntax. I think we have reached that stage of CODE INIT where we have started seeing negative returns. By negative returns, I mean is that people have less people have started to come. So the number of people have started to decrease. So there is that graph type of thing where at first the number of people increases, then it reaches a stable value, and then it starts to fall off. So the falling off part is called the negative return part. And I think we have reached that. So it would have been better like if we reach that part at least one more class after, because like arrays is an important topic for CP. For any type of programming you do, you'd need arrays and loops, of course, because like no program would run without loops. even a simple CP program, most simple, you would need a while loop to run if it has test cases, which it will have. Anyways, uh, so the syntax of a do while is okay. I'll not give comments because this is a syntax only. Okay, so this is the syntax of a do while loop. Uh, Please notice that there is a semicolon after the while block. Okay. Okay, maybe that's the case, and it can like happen because uh, everything starts to become boring after a point of time. So that might happen. So it's fine. Anyways, please notice that there is this semicolon thing, and if you don't give this, it's a wrong syntax. So as I said, like do while is an exit control loop. So till now, all the loops we saw, we are seeing that first the condition is checked, then the loop gets in, then the increment or decrement or change, whatever that happens, and then the loop again goes back to the first part, again checks, and this process continues till this condition is false. So you'd always see that the loop first starts with checking the condition and then it uh, does all the instructions. But in a do while, you see the condition is at the end. Okay, sorry. Uh, the condition is at the end. So it cannot check the condition at first. Yeah, yeah, that's true. But maybe they are not interested in swags. That can also happen. Maybe they're not interested in learning CPP. That can also happen. So yeah, even in Python, in the second part, I'll be sharing like we'll be sharing some tips and tricks. So even in Python, I'll share some things that will help you in getting inputs and some basic stuff. So you'll get some help in Python also. If you are dead set that I'll code in Python only, no CPP, that's also fine. But yeah, CPP is a bit better when you start going into your next semesters. You'll understand why exactly. Okay. So, anyways, we are like talking a lot of things that are out of the scope. So let's come back to the topic. So as I was saying, like for all the loops that we have seen so far, we check the condition first, then get in, run the instructions, and again check the condition, and this process continues. But in do while, as you can see, the condition is at the end. So there is no way of checking it at first. So first we get in, we run the instructions, and then we go back and then again get in, check the instruction, check the run the instructions, check the condition. If the condition is false, then the loop ends, and if the condition is true, then the instructions are executed again. So I'll tell you something. So there might be a case like this. Say I less than 6. So for I less than 6, this loop will not run for even once. I'll show you. So see, nothing happens, the loop does not run for once. But if we write the same thing with do while, now can you tell me what is the least number of times the loop will run, or if the loop will run at all or not? I'll be like taking the answer and then going ahead because I don't know if we are on the same length or not. Except Kajal and Monal, no one has said anything. One time, yeah. Okay, anyone else? How many people do we even have right now? Just let me check. Okay, so we have 25. Fine, that's fine. Just checking. Okay, one time. Okay, yeah, very nice. Very nice answer. But this runs for an infinite number of times. So the reason is that this is I less than 6. And when the loop will run for the first time, it will go minus minus and it will become 5. And then for all the cases, it will be less than 6 and the loop will run for infinite number of times. So this was a trick question. Okay. So how to make this run one times is that simply change it to I greater than a greater than will do. So it gets in and does I minus minus even if we do equals to Then we run this and it will only do 6. So see, like even such a simple thing like do while missing, I mean, Sanjukta and many others have already like studied Java or any other language, even Python. You guys are studying Python, so I cannot say you are completely beginners to programming right now. So this is like very simple, like Python, and this has no difference right now because you know the concept of loops and you know what a print is and you know the operations. So like see, that's what happens even for a basic thing. We get confused because we are not reading it minutely. We just think that yeah, the question was that ran 0 times, so it must be because do while at least goes 1 time, so it will be running at least 1 time. So we don't check the conditions neatly. So this type of trick questions even come in semester exams, like they give this type of small snippets and people get confused and all that. But in the last few semesters, since they are online, people just copy this code, paste it in the compiler, get the result, and boom, full marks. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing that's going on. But okay, that's fine as long as you understand what's going on. Okay, so yeah, do while is this. Now you saw that we at least ran it 1 times, even though this condition is actually false, and it still run 1 time. So that is do while. It's called an exit control because we are checking the condition at the end of the loop or while exiting the loop. So we exit, and if this condition does not satisfy, then we just exit it. But in for and while, we check it before entering the loop. So that's why it's called an entry control loop. Okay, I guess that's clear. If you have any questions, then you can ask. Okay, so I think no questions. So I'll continue. So do while is done. We kind of come at a close to our loops. Now we see a program of fall through. So how is fall through actually useful? So like I said, yeah, this falls through this and this and that. But what is if there's any use of doing all this? So this was actually a program we got as an assignment of a class, and we had to do this using Switch. So the question was that you'll be given a grade, and this checking is done because grade cannot be less than 0, and that's sorry, I mistake. I mistakenly said grade, but you'll be given a score. And yes, you know, score cannot be less than 0 unless you have done something like very wrong, and it cannot be greater than 100 unless there is a bias for you by the teacher who is grading. So we go for the normal conditions. We check if it's less than 0 or greater than 0. We give it wrong input. We exit the code. Okay, this is a C code. Fine. I'll just show you like don't get into all this printf and all that. Basically, this is taking the input. That's all. You don't have to understand what's going on. You understand this part. You understand this part. Basically, you can assume this printf as your print of Python. So this is printing, and by this scanf we are just taking input. So just don't get into all this syntaxes. Just think this is printing and this is taking input. So we took input here. If the input was wrong, then we printed a wrong input and went back. So this was done in C. I think we can easily just change it into C++. Just gotta change this printf and scanfs, and that's it. So that's why also learning C++ is very beneficial. Once you're used to C++, then you can change some simple lines of code and you can get to C. So C will be there in everyone's syllabus for BTech. They cannot skip C. Whatever you learn, Python, C++, Java, C will be there. It has to be there. So uh, you guys are already like getting some steps into C. And whatever we have studied, except the C out and C in, all of that stuff works in C as well. So you are learning something. So this will not go in vain. If you are thinking like, what we'll do with this knowledge, our semester only has Python. Fine. Okay, so now comes to the switch part. Okay, so we are switching by score by 10. So score by 10, as I said, is switch takes an expression. It evaluates its value. So suppose we get a score of say 90, and it evaluates its value as 9. And now you see there are two cases, 10 and 9. Fine. Two cases of 10 and 9. So you know if 10 is satisfied, then fall through will happen. and then it will print O. So, and no other cases fall through. So the question was that if the grade is 10 or 9, then you'd print O. If it's 8, then you'd print A. If it's 7, then B. 6 for C, 5 for D. And if it's less, then fail. Okay. So we had to use fall through here because there was no if. We are not allowed to use if. So this is a very neat trick. So you get 100. Even if you get 100, the case 10 will get satisfied, the fall through will occur and will print O. Even if you get 9, then the fall through not occur, but we just go to case 9 and print O. So this is how, fall through is used. If you want to use it, you can. But I'd always tell you that use if and else statements because they are much easier to read and understand. So if you give a programmer who does not know switch or what is fall through, he will get confused like what is happening, why have we jumbled this 10 and 9, and why it is happening like I'm giving 10 as an switch value and it's printing oh, I'm giving 9 still it's printing oh, what is this happening. So write if statements, but this was just to demonstrate that fall through has a use. So in case you get a question like this, that you have to implement it with switch, then you can do it like this. Basically merge all the cases for which there is a single output. So if the question was modified like say for 8 and 7 with print A, then we'd merge both the cases. For case 7 and case 8 with print A. So basically we print it for the lower value because we know it would fall through to the lower case. So is that clear, or there is any question regarding this? If you want anything changed in this program and then we run it, I'll just do a simple run to show you. So I'll give 100 and you see it's printed O. I will give 95 O. I'll give 85. It's A. There's no more fall through because we have break statements after all of this. So any questions? So that was just to demonstrate uh, the use of fall through. Next we'll do an like interesting program with whiles. I think you guys have done this in Python as well. So first of all, any questions? Yes or no? Like we already have so less people, and then if even they are not listening, then what's the point of taking the class? Uh, okay. Okay, fine. Nice. So I would just ask you a question that is, have you done a program like this, like take an integer and then do a sum of all the digits? Have you done this question in your Python? If you haven't, then I'll show you. Show you step by step. Yeah. So you know, right? So we write a while loop. Yeah, cool. Then I'm not getting into it. So no wastage of time. Rather, what we can do is you do it in C++ as a challenge. Not right now, but whenever you're free. So like that, you'll get used to while loops in C++. And if any error comes, then you try to debug it. If still it does not work, then you can send it to me like what's happening. So I'm not going into that program right now. Okay. So I think there isn't anything else in loops to cover. Okay, so Roham last day told me about like the comma operator. That is this. And I did not cover it in operators part because like comma operator is not at all used anywhere. That's why I forgot how to use it actually. So I googled it last day, and basically comma operator says that it starts to operate all the operations from left to right. I'll give you example. First, I'm just trying to explain. So wait a second. I think this can be better explained with a pen. Okay. So let's say we have 8, 9, 10 like this. Okay. So what comma operator says is it starts to evaluate from left to right, and it discards all the values. First it executes the expressions that are given. Okay. So it executes 8, but then it discards it. Okay. Executes 9, discards it. Only takes the rightmost value and stores it. So I'll give you example. Just give me a second. Okay, and then I will draw. So 7 comma 9 comma 8 say with a see it's the 8. So basically it's first evaluating 7, it gets 7 but discards it, gets 9 discards it, then gets 8 and it stores the value of 8 inside it, inside a, and that's why we get a. So Roham last day given was saying about 7 comma 1. So basically the same thing happens, operation starts from left to right and the rightmost value is stored there. But an interesting thing happens like this. So let's say this is this, and we do I plus plus, we do I minus minus, and this. Okay, so this was I think you guys will learn I plus plus and I minus minus as well, because I did not like discuss this as well, but this is very important. So what happens is it starts to evaluate from left. So I plus plus is done. See, I plus plus increments the value of 1, but also changes it in the memory. So wherever I is stored, the value is increased there. And if you only do I plus 1, then only here the change is occurring, but not in the memory. Okay, so i's value still remains like 0. I mean, if it is only I plus 1, say this, and if we print it here I, then you'd see it's still 0. See, it's still 0. So I plus 1 does not change the value in the memory, it just changes the value where it is typed. So it does the plus operation basically. But what I plus plus does is it increments the value and stores it in the memory. So there is a difference between plus plus I and I plus plus that I said last day. So this plus plus after the I is called a post decrement operator. So the post decrement operator does is it first evaluates the whole expression. Okay, so it evaluates int a equals to 0 plus plus. Okay, so 0 plus plus means we have to add 1, but it evaluates the expression, and when it's evaluated, the operation does not occur. So this is like int a equals to 0 plus plus. So first 0 is stored in a, and then i's value is incremented. So the are you getting this point? So first 0 is stored in a, then i's value is incremented. So if you print out a here, so this is a like very tricky concept. Like a lot of people get confused in plus plus after the operand and plus plus before the operand. So you get a question like this, that what is the difference between post increment and pre increment operator? Like always, this is a teacher's favorite question kind of thing. Okay, so I'm trying my best to make you understand. It would be even more clear if you just type it in your compiler. So anyways, so first, as I said, if I plus plus occurs anywhere, then first the operation, I mean the whole expression is evaluated. The value of I is stored, or whatever, the value of I is just given there. Like as I showed here, that 0 is here, it is not changed. So it will change after this semicolon. So if the semicolon is executed, you can see that I has stored, A has stored 0's value, but afterwards, after the semicolon is done, I's value is changed in the memory. So this is in, see that I is 1. Okay. So now what happens if we do plus plus? So the plus plus and the post and pre-increment operators are not in Python. So Python has removed a lot of things that might cause confusion. So that's why people like go into Python and they like it, because there's a not a lot of ways you can go wrong, even if you do something silly. Okay. So I plus plus and plus plus I does not work in Python. So you have to do it like the normal addition way. Okay, so okay, coming back. So how does this work now? So I0, this says that change the value of I, then execute the statement. So first I is changed from 0, it has now become 1, and then this whole instruction is executed. So store 1 into a. So i's value is changed, then int a equals to 1. So i's value is already changed. So that's why if you do this and if you do this, you'd say it's a 1 1. Previously it was a 0 1. Now it's a 1 1 because uh, just remember this, pre-increment is do change then execute, and post increment is execute then change. These are the two keywords you have to remember. Okay, so that was what I was saying. So basically the comma operator example. Okay, sorry. 9. So see, uh, we start from left to right. So I plus plus is evaluated, which is 1. And this I plus plus will right now not be stored. Like first we'll execute the operation, then we'll change the value. So this is now 0 and I minus minus. So this part is done. And now i's value has become 1 after this comma. So first this, as this say, first execute, then change. So here execution is just this little part. As I said, comma operator first evaluates all the operations, then just takes the rightmost value and stores it in whatever variable it's assigned to. So again, I minus minus works. It discards it as well. And then finally 9. So it stores it and A also print I. See, it has stored 9 and I has gone like first a change of 1 and then again a change of minus minus, and that's why it has given a 0. So that was that. If you have any questions, please ask. If you want to do something else with this, then you can tell me as well. Or we'll go to arrays. We have a lot of time today. 35 minutes for arrays. Might even start something else. But yeah, we'll end the class early if we finish. Oh, so anyways, if you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, we'll continue. You might have a question like uh, to explain this again because this is a bit confusing. But basically, you have to, yeah, this is 0, 1, and 9. No, not 0, 1, 9. This is minus minus, not plus plus. Okay, yeah, I'll repeat, I guess. So first, okay, this is too big. I thought people are having problems seeing the key. Like, are you able to like see the screen? Because Sanjukta first missed the I minus minus and now he thought this minus is a plus. So I guess it's fine. The screen is fine, I guess, because if I do one more big, then the screen, like whole screen is taken up. So I'll just keep it 1 minus only. Okay. So, okay, explaining it again. Yeah, I'll take a different example. So this is more valid than 9. Okay. First, we're going to print. Okay, see. We'll take two cases. Okay, in B another. So the whole thing is like clear here only, and we don't. Okay, we'll do one more thing. So everything is clear right now only. But this will, I guess, give 0. So there is not much point in doing this because I think we'll just skip this so you'd understand better. CRP. I hope this example will clear the doubts. Okay, so as I said, for comma operator, it starts from left to right. First, like get this clear, then we'll come to the pre-increment and pre-decrement part. So we get to 9. Operation comma operator evaluates the expression and then discards it because it is not the rightmost. Again, it goes to the uh, second leftmost that expression that is given. So starts from right to left, I mean left to right. So 9 is done, then I minus minus. So as I said, I minus minus is first execute, then change. So when it will evaluate I minus minus, this will be zero only because the scope of evaluating is till comma. So after comma is done, then the execution is evaluated or executed. I mean, the instruction is evaluated or executed, or whatever, like whatever term you understand. So till this comma, the execution occurs. So after this comma, this I minus minus is gonna take effect. So the effect will be after the comma and not before the comma. So right now, if we do this, so for the second part, it is zero. Okay, and then comes plus plus. So the plus plus is basically like adding, but after this whole expression is done. So we'll just, okay, again, the VS Code problem. Yeah, that's fine. VS Code does not like to give the output at the first place. So see, I minus minus is done, which makes it minus one. Okay, and then I's value is now minus one. Again, it's a post increment operator. So after the execution is done, the number will be incremented in memory. But currently, till the execution is going on, the previous value that is before the change will be stored. So basically, this is I 90 minus 1. So that's why you see a minus 1 here. And here, if you go, then 9, 8, and plus plus I. So as I said, plus plus I. Okay, so I'll just, this becomes 0. I hope you understand that this becomes 0 after this I plus plus. It is here minus 1, but as soon as the instruction is done executing, the change occurs. So just to be like more clear to you, I will do this I1 here. So we are starting from 0 again. So you don't think this is minus 1, and we did a plus plus and we got 1. So minus 1 plus 1 should be 0. So you don't get confused. Already this is a lot confusing. So yeah, this part is confusing. Like anyone teaches you comma operator or this plus plus minus minus together, it will get confusing. So anyways, so we start from left to right again. We evaluate 9, discard the value because this is not the rightmost value. We evaluate 8, discard the value because this is not the rightmost value. And then we evaluate plus plus I1. So plus plus, as I said, is do the change first, then execute. So it will do the change and it will become 1 because I1 was 0. Okay, so this will be evaluated as 901. Hence B is stored as 1. So we get 1 here. So do you understand? Like this example is the most important one. How this minus 1 is happening, despite being a minus and plus done. So if you don't understand, you can ask again. But now if you ask, like say which part. So we have time. So you can ask like which part you're having problem with. So I mean, I can repeat again, but that don't like solve the problem. Now you have to like pinpoint. Okay. Anyone who has not got it, like anyone, it is not a issue. Like these things are tough to understand and it can get confusing for anyone, even teachers, like those who teach, they also sometimes do mistake in plus plus minus minus, even less than greater than. So even our sorry, we are in third semester right now. So even our data structure teacher one day did a mistake of writing less than instead of greater than. So yeah, this type of mistakes happen. Not a big issue. And she did not correct it actually until I said like this does not work. For that algorithm you had to give less than. Anyways, so that's not the point. So if you haven't understand, please ask. So the point of telling that was like everybody does mistakes and it's not an issue, or everybody might not understand something at the first point. So anyone any issues? If not, then we'll go into arrays. Try like different combinations of this on your compiler so you get the understanding more clear. And if you're doing something and you think the explanation you are trying to get is not matching, then you can ask me how this is working, or even Google, but Google won't have the direct solution to your answer. It will have some explanation. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I guess I got this wrong, Sanjukta. Sorry. So yeah, I plus plus that makes it one. I minus minus. Oh, sorry. I plus plus makes it one, but it's zero because it's change after execution. And then I minus minus makes it one and nine. Yeah, Sanjukta, you are right. I was wrong there. Sorry. So I guess that mistake number four. Okay. Anyways, so that's done. Yeah, Sanjukta was right. Sorry. I like by mistake forgot that we are doing that first put it. I thought something else. Anyways, you're right. So basically, post increment or decrement is first do the execution, then put the change. And here execution is only till the comma part. Each execution is till the comma part. Okay. So we'll go into arrays. Okay, so from 35 minutes, we have now like 26 minutes, which is not bad. Dave, sorry. What am I doing? Yeah, this is better. Okay, day 6 arrays. Okay. So as you know, like for every topic, I give an introduction and an analogy, like why we need this and why we use it. So what are arrays and why do we need it basically? So I'll first start with the problem. So say that you have been given a task that you have to get the names. Okay, forget names because we have not studied strings yet. You have to get the enrollment numbers of every student and their marks in your midterms. Okay, since you have given only midterms, and you have to like type, store it in your computer in a program, and then display all that. Okay, just a second. Okay. So this is the problem. You had, I mean, this is your task. So you have to take enrollment number of everyone and their marks, and then uh, you have to store them in your program, and then you have to display all the data. So say your, for simplicity's sake, say your year has like 30 students. I know it's 300, but just say it has 30 students for simplicity's sake. So whatever we know till now, like we have to create two variables, int role, int name, and we have to do this 30 times, and we have to create a new variable each time, because if we do a loop, you might be thinking that you said for the same instruction we can do a loop, but then this variable will be overwritten each time. So you cannot like store and then display. You might be thinking that, okay, I'll just take the input and then display it, but that's not. You have to first store it and then display it separately, not that you give the input and then display it. Okay, you might have to do some operations on the marks. Okay, for each member, might be like, if you have a grudge on someone, you will just give her or him -5 or -10. So you are taking advantage of your position because you have given a task to record the marks for everyone. So whoever you have a grudge against, you will like manipulate his marks. So you cannot do that using the for loop, because you cannot store it. Every time you take the input in role and name, it will be, sorry, I give name, I meant marks. Every time you give input in the role and marks, it will be overwritten. The previous value would not be there. So for is not useful here. Then you cannot do manipulation. Now you're thinking like, okay, then I have nothing to do. I have to write int role 1, int role 2, int role 3, like that till 30, and in marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, marks for 30. Okay, so some might say like, what is the problem here? The problem is like every time you try to call someone, like you have to get the role of say fifth student. You have to remember that you have stored the role of the fifth student in the fifth number. And then like that, you have to remember all the variables you stored. 30 is for like generalization sakes. What if you're storing 10 to the power 5 numbers, 5 number of records? Then you have to write first 10 to the power 5, and then you have to recall all those where it is. Just imagine the length of the code and what will be going to ahead. So that's why arrays came. So arrays give you a container. So like you have a container of a biscuit at home or different pulses we store rice, all that. So array gives you a container to store data. And as you know, like we don't store rice and biscuit together. We store rice in a separate container, we store biscuits in a separate container. So arrays is very similar. We can only store a similar type of data in that container. Okay. And array has another stipulation, like each data will be one after another. So let's say, uh, okay, gotta use the pen again. So let's say this is a container and we can store, let's say 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's say we can store 4. So array says you have to give it one after another. So you cannot do this. You cannot leave this blank and then go for this. You have to first assign something here and then go here. So you cannot leave a space in between. So every data has to be one after another. Sorry. So like this. So basically that is it. So what did we study so far? Like the points. First I said array is a container that stores data. Then I said the data has to be of similar type. Then I said that the data has to be one after another. Now we'll put this into definition. Okay. So just to clear things, list and array is not same. Python's list and array are not same. Python's list is based on a linked list, which you'll study in your third semesters or whenever you have the data structure paper. And that is also a data container and that stores data as well. But it's like it does not have so many stipulations as of like arrays has. So you will be creating a linked list that will only be able to store one type of data only. So Python's list is even more advanced. It can store different types of data as it wants. So never mind about that. So you have to remember three things. Array is a data container or formally called a data structure, and it stores a similar type of values and all the values has to be one after another. So we'll put this into definition, and this is a very bookish type of definition. So array is a homogeneous contiguous data structure. So contiguous basically means that is one after another, and homogeneous means it's of the same type. So that's it. This is all those things jumbled into one sentence. Okay. Uh, Now for each data structure, we have 4 types of operations on it. So any data structure you are gonna read, say databases or trees, linked list, stack, whatever. Every data structure has 4 types of operations on it, and that is okay. I'll go with one only. Sure. So yeah. So every data structure has this 4 type of operations defined on it. That is create, remove, update, and display. And in short, it's known as CRUD, or I call it as CRUD. Okay, I don't know the actual pronunciation, but I call it as CRUD. So if anyone of you have done SQL in your class 11 and 12, that is you are of CBSE board, then you might have seen CRUD. And there was this definition of CRUD and even programs on it. Like programs means basic SQL statements, how to create, remove, update, and display. So every data structure has this 4 operations defined on it. So first we'll learn how to create an array. Okay. Mm, this has nothing to define, so we'll only go to the syntax part. Okay. So this is the syntax. We have the date. Okay, wait. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to ask that till this, is it clear? Because I was like going through I was trying to go through two subtopics, but before that, we'll just ask you that if you have any questions regarding arrays till now. What are arrays? What does it do? What was the problem? If you have any questions regarding that problem, and if you have any counter solutions that no, I can do this, I can do that, you can like tell me. Any opinions? Or like everybody is like sleeping, and suddenly when I say sleeping, so everybody comes back from sleep and types a no, yes, and then goes back to sleep. And I think they have already fallen asleep now. It seems no one is replying. Do you have anything to say or not? Okay. Okay. I really doubt, to be honest, because like no questions, no asking anything, sharing anything. So it's kind of weird. Okay, anyways. So we were at creating an array. So we create an array. So first we'll create an array that can store marks. Okay, basically integers. So we'll just name it marks. As I said, that first comes the data type, then comes the marks, then comes the variable name. Okay, there is some announcement type of thing going in front of my house, so I'll just mute the mic for a second. Yeah, so basically a politician type of thing. I mean the politics type of thing for a party. They're giving COVID-19 protocols. I mean sharing the COVID-19 protocols. So yeah, that's fine. Anyways, so as we're saying, the syntax is data types, the data type, then the variable name, then the size. So let's say we need to store 5. So our okay, just slow internet. So slow internet, is it like you're not understanding because of the slow internet? Then you can ask me to repeat if that's happening. No issues with that. So if your internet is too slow and you are currently in the past, so we are currently at creating an array. Whenever this message reaches you, we are creating an array. Okay. So if your array is net is very slow, like you're living in the past right now. Okay. Anyways, so we have created an array. Okay, but this array has nothing. So what we do? Okay, fine, no issues. So we have created an array, but it has no contents in it. Okay, so there are two types of way to insert in an array. So inside create comes a sub operation, that is inserting in an array. Basically, create is creating the structure and then inserting as well. Okay, so both mix create statement together, not only just defining the structure. So if you have read SQL, you'd know like first we give all the data types and define them, then we store data into them, and that is the create operation. Anyways, not going into SQL. So inserting in an array. So let's see how we can insert in an array. So there are two types. First is what is called an initialization list. So this parenthesis, and we can store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say, so we are storing. Okay. Now this array is created and it stores 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the question is, how can I access these variables? It's fine. Like we have created an array that stores 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But how can we access? So then comes another sub operation. Okay, we have only defined one type of array inserting. using initialization list. So accessing the values. Okay. So I'll have to draw it again. Okay. So basically, when we're creating an int, only the memory of one int was being stored somewhere. Okay. So say this is a whole memory block, and previously only when we're creating int marks, only int marks, a memory part was being written, given the type of int, and the name marks was stored. Sorry, uh, name marks was stored, and then whatever value we inserted into it, it was say 8, then it was stored here. Okay, but now we are creating 5 blocks of int. That is, we have int which is of size 5. So int 5 times. So in the memory, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now this whole is marks. Okay. And again, as you saw in those bitwise operations and binary operations, we always start from 0. But now instead of starting from right to left, we start from left to right. Okay. So we start from 0, and this is 4. So if I have to draw this marks array, this will be like this. So the first memory is assigned the index of 0. Then the second memory is assigned the index of 1. Third is 2. Fourth is 3. And fifth is 4. Uh, so that's how indexing works. So these are indexes. Okay. Now to access an array, we have to write the index inside this square brackets. So say we want to access 1. So we'll write ARR 1. I mean, sorry, ARR 0, because that was the, that is storing right now 1. Okay. Sorry, that is no ARR, that is marks. Yeah, sorry, marks. I always define arrays with ARR, so that's why. Anyways, so you see that 1 is printed. And similarly, if we give it 1, then 2 is printed. So basically what we're giving here is called an index. So I'll write the syntax. We are almost at the end. So I don't think we can do. Okay, so array does not have remove. Kind of, it does not have remove like that. We have update and display. So update you'll see in a minute only. So for syntax. Okay. So now as you saw, this is the first position of the array, but it is assigned an index equals of 0. So always remember this equation, that is position equals to index, sorry, not minus. No semicolon needed because this is not a program. So whenever someone tells you a position, there is a lot of confusion. Like for even teachers, forget that position is not index and index is not position, and they interchange between this and then say that find the position, but they're actually meaning index. Find the index, but they're actually meaning position. So position and index are not the same. Position is index plus 1. So if I have to say the position of 1 in this array, that would be 1. If I have to say the index of 1 in this array, that would be 0. Okay. So now what happens if we like try to access say index 5? We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but there is no fifth index, right? So we'll just run and we get a garbage value. If in Java you do this, you will get an array index out of bounds exception, but C++ is like way gives you way more control. So see, I'll try to make you understand this. So we had this diagram, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were stored. and this would have been our fifth index had our array's mark size was 6, but it was not. So, but this memory does exist, right? It's not like our computer's memory is only this 5 int bytes. So each int byte is, as I said, 4, and 4 into 5 is 20. So it's not like our computer memory is only 20 bytes. It is a huge memory. So whatever you have, 4 GB, 2 GB, 8 GB, 16, 32, whatever. So this exists, but it is not defined. So if you access it, it will give the thing that is stored here. But what is stored here, no one knows. So don't try to access something that is out of bounds. For a good compiler, this should actually give an error, but VS Code does not. Okay. So even I'm a bit surprised why it does not. Anyways, so basically, if you're accessing something that you have not defined, then you should get an error or a value that is garbage that you're not expecting. So always try to remember what your array size was. Okay, so that's it. Now we have accessed the value. So any question? We have like 6 minutes left in our class, and then another 5 minutes, and then we'd end. Any questions? Let me just see how many people are even like only there. Okay, we have 24. So okay, not bad, not too good. Okay, no, you cannot declare an array without a size. The reason is uh, that type of array that you declare in Java is an object. So you do new int. Okay, here you can declare and you can do that. Oh, sorry. In C you cannot do that, but here you can do that kind of. So uh, okay, C++ is incomplete type is not defined, but okay, I guess. Okay, wait. Instead of for loop, we can use for each loop as well. Can start from the beginning, from the end, and from the middle, or whatever index. But for each loop, we only start from the beginning, isn't it? Okay, so first of all, the for each you're saying C++ does not have a for each loop like that. It uses an iterator, and that is different. So for each is like in you're talking about for each in Java, right? Or where? And I have to you can declare size. Yeah, that's you can allocate it later. That's fine. But uh, you have to like you can do this type of syntaxing is allowed. New int say 5, and this cannot be an array. Then it has to be a pointer, and then it's a right definition. So I'll say I was gonna say why this is not happening. So you cannot declare that like that. But first, like coming to Vaishnavi's question. So instead of I will read this again because we can use for each loop as well. However, the difference is for loop can start from the beginning, from the end. Yeah, but for each, there is nothing like that. That is an iterator kind of thing that you're saying. So yeah, that starts in the beginning in the sense that it reads the first value, then the second value, so third value, and fourth like that. So yeah, you are kind of right that if you use a for each loop using an iterator, then it will start from the beginning and then it will end. And yeah, for loop we can like start from anywhere we want. That is right. But for each loop only works for uh, like say some data type. You cannot like start from the middle of anywhere. You can use an for each loop for an array or any type of other data structures, but you cannot like just do the for each you're thinking with an iterator for like any type of value. That does not work. So what I'm trying to say is uh, you can do a for each loop for this, but if you're trying to write a for each loop for like this type of thing, there is no for each loop for that. Okay, for each loop only works on a data structure. And C++ does not have that for each of Java and that you're familiar with. It has something with an iterator. So what is iterator? We won't go into that right now because you don't need it. So basically coming to Sanjukta's question now. So what you're saying, we can do that, but we can do that using pointers. And what is pointers? That will come later, not now. So right now, arrays in C++ is static. Okay, you cannot do this type of definition and then go like marks new int and sorry, not double new and then allocate some size here. That does not work because C++ arrays are static. The size has to be known during the declaration. In C++, that's why they have given pointers which are dynamic. Okay, so you have to give a size. So that was creating and inserting and accessing. Now we have removing. But as I said, like C++ arrays are static. So there is actually no way to remove an element once you have like given it a value. So again, we go into that. So we cannot remove this 3 element per se, but there is an remove algorithm which what it does is places this at the last and swaps all the values after this one position earlier. So, but that value still exists at the end. And what we do is we decrease the size by 1. So for all this, C++ has given you something of higher concept that is of pointers. And with that comes malloc, calloc, and realloc. So those all deal with addresses. Right now, we don't need to go into that. So whenever you declare an array, you have to give it a like what do I say? You have to give it a size. Okay, so that's how you do it. So we also saw remove. I won't show you the remove algorithm right now. You think like what I said, how to do this, because this will be a question you would be facing sometime in your next semesters or somewhere, that how to remove an element in a static type of array where you cannot just do list dot pop or list dot this equals to null for strings like we do in Python or Java, that we get a string and then we just do null with that value and that disappears, but it does not happen here. So the way to remove an element is put it at the end and shift all the values one place before. That's how it works. Okay, and then decrease the size by 1. So it has size 5, we decrease the size by 1, and then it will be 4. But that element will not be removed from the memory. It will stay at the end memory only. We are just not accessing it and ignoring it. That's the removal we do in C. Okay, then update. So we'll skip the remove and go straight to update. Okay, 4 minutes more. Again, okay, to update an array, what we do is we take the index position, basically overwriting what? Uh, are you talking about the removal algorithm? I did not get you. Overwriting like what? It's not actually overwriting. It's just changing the positions, and you can say it's overwriting, but it's not like you're changing any of the array elements like that. You are just swapping their positions, uh, just decreasing the size, and you're ignoring the last element. So everything is overwriting as long as you change it. So I can't say you're totally wrong there, because as long as you're changing something, it's kind of overwriting only. But it's not overwriting per se that you're changing the value of 3 to null and it goes out of the array like that. Does not happen. Okay, so we are at update. So to update any index, we take the index, sorry, marks index. Say we again go into 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, and we want to change this 1 to 0. So index and 0. So the syntax is okay. So this new value can be 1 as well. If you just want to give it 1, then you can do that as well. So update just means like you are giving it a value again, but a value already exists there. But It's not necessary that you have to change it. You can give it one again, but that does not do like anything. So updating like now will be 0, and I'll just print it out and marks 0. Okay, and then we'll print, and you see the 0 is printed. So the array is updated right now. Okay, now the last thing we'll see today, that is not the display actually. Display and that kind of works similarly. We'll see the second way of uh, inserting elements in an array. So right now, like we can just initialize the array in the code only. We cannot take anything from the user or something and do that. So that is useless, right? No user is gonna open this code, then give the values and then run. Who would even understand what this means? So for that, we need to insert in an array and take the user input till there are indexes left. So can you guys think of anything by which we can do this? Uh, like the process of taking the index, taking the user value and inserting into it. And we are going to repeat it till there are indexes left. So can you think of any way we can do this from whatever we have studied till now? I think this was the like worst class done maybe. So I'm sorry if this was not up to the mark. So yeah, by loops, right? So what we do is we initialize. So you remember like for has three parts: initialization, condition, and then increment. So we go, we do this, we give the condition. See, the index has to be less than 5, right? If it goes to 5, then it takes some arbitrary value, and we don't want that. We want to stay inside the array that we have defined. So we do this, and then we do a plus plus, and we take an input from user. Okay, so that's done. Now we don't want it to be 5. We want it to be an size given by the user. Then that is also done by initializing a value. I mean taking an input of size, and then we giving it that size, then running the loop till size. So see how this loop works. We get 0 into I. I is marks of 0. Input is taken in marks of 0 first, then plus plus, then in marks of 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then size minus 1, whatever our size is. Okay. And similarly, we'll display. So displaying is very similar. We again have a simple operation, that is to get the index and then see out index of that value. So basically we are getting the index, accessing, displaying it. So again, one operation we are repeating. So again, we'll use a for loop. So displays are done as well. Uh, okay. So you don't get confused. We'll run this. The size is given as 5. So see, I have not taken any prompts here, but the first input is the size. Then say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is printed. So basically array is done. So the second method we saw is by using taking user input using loops, and we also saw display, and that is traversing the loop, displaying each value. So that's done. So basically the class is over. So you guys, just to announce that we don't have classes next week because we have a mids and some exams, and we won't have class next to next Saturday because we have an exam on that day only, and that exams runs till 4:30, and we won't be able to, like I won't be able to take the class then. and I think people are already starting to show in negative returns. So it's kind of good for you on. So I guess you also would enjoy the day off. And another thing is that you'll be having some assignments, like 3 programs. So I'll just explain the first program. That is, you have to do all the arithmetic operations, that is plus minus divide into, by taking user input. So user would give you 2 numbers, and then he would give you the operator. Based on that, you have to do the calculation. And also you have to see that for the values the calculation is possible or not. So you have to see that for all the operations. So you will think on this, that for what values what operation is not possible. So that would be one. And the next two I haven't decided, but that would be your 3 assignments. And your date would be like 30th Feb. I mean, sorry, 30th Jan. And that's it. If you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, the class ends here.
Everyone is requested to stay back for 5 minutes. If you don't have any questions, just write in the chat box. So I need to share something. Just write yes or no. Okay. Just let me know if my screen is visible. It's visible, right? Hello. Okay.
हाँ दीदी
So okay. So as you all know, Hack for Bengal is already started. Like not the actual hackathon, but the pre-hackathon sessions have already started since yesterday. And the first session was good. I must say. Like the speaker explained what are hackathons really well. If you want to check out, you can go to our YouTube channel. The link is given in our website at the bottom. This is the YouTube channel's link. You can go there and check out the video. Also, if you have any doubts regarding application or joining our Discord or anything else, you can just ping us on our WhatsApp or anywhere. We'll be obliged to help you. And apart from that, I wanted to share about the prizes with you all. I actually expected more people today in the class, so I could tell you about the whole like prize structure today. But since the others did not join, I guess they're missing this opportunity to know about the prizes. So let me just give you an overview about it. There will be a prize for the overall winners, the first ones, and we will also have prizes for the first and the second runner-ups. And after that, we will be having prize for the best girls team. This will be a team which has only girls, and there will be a prize for them separately. Also, we will be having a prize for the best beginner team, and then we will be having 2 contests on for one for CODE INIT and one separate contest that will be an intermediate one. So the top 3 winners in that contest will get prizes, exclusive prizes from CodeChef, and the top 10 from SNU will get like separate prizes from CodeChef as well as from GitHub. And apart from these, there will be 20 top 20 students for the quizzes we will be conducting during our sessions of CodeChef. Like these 3 things will be organized by CodeChef. So I hope you all will participate in these, and because you are really getting good prizes like water bottles or notepads or stickers, pens, and also CodeChef laddus. So sorry for that. Apart from these, you will be getting the prices for these 3 APIs. If you use these APIs in your projects, you'll be getting like one team will get for each. Like for the best use of Filecoin API, the best use of Cello API, and the best use of Polygon API. These are the prizes overall. But we might add some more prizes in it. We are talking to our sponsors for that. And apart from these, You can ask for anything else as well. We'll try to get that for you. And also, I have heard many people are facing issue with the application button. If on like visiting the website, you are not able to see this application button, you just have to refresh it and the button will appear. Okay, and uh, that was it. But I have to say something else as well. Like we are really disheartened that only like how many people are there? Only 21 people are there in this session. Like this session actually started from 15 people. Like we were shocked why people are joining. Like the first session we had 130 participation, and today it's 20, 21. Like, is there any problem from our side? Like, Swag will be really disheartened if he comes to know that his teaching is not like we are not liking his teaching, or we are not able to organize better classes for you. Is there any specific reason? Hello? You can use your mic. Maybe because it's Sunday. We had classes on Sunday as well. I guess the first session Sohag took was on Sunday. Right, Sohag? Hello? Sohag, I can't hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, we took it on Sunday only. But the thing is
Yeah.
that I think everything becomes boring with time. So that might be the issue. And it can be the issue that I'm maybe not explaining things properly. And but if that's the issue, then someone has to tell me, right? Otherwise, how would I know?
Hmm.
Maybe you can even tell me if you're thinking it's not good. So yeah, someone has to say. Otherwise, it's
Like
not possible for me.
experiencing the college classes, BSA classes, I really feel your classes are better than those. I don't know about them. Their teacher is also different, so maybe they like their teachers teaching, and they have the feedback form, right? They can say it there. Bhaya's
Yeah, but
teaching is
I don't get any feedbacks to like which says
that's
that yeah,
anonymous.
it's not good. So what can I
Oh.
like do?
Actually, the feedback form is anonymous, so you can write anything you want. Hmm. We see only. Never mind. The others who are not joining may miss out on some really surprises that we are planning for you. Now, don't ask us about those surprises because surprises are meant to be surprises. Okay? We'll be disclosing them soon. And apart from this, if you have any questions, you can ask us now. You can turn on your mic and ask the question as well.
You see, like joining is not the issue. Like even if 10 people join, we'll continue the classes and end it when it's supposed to end. So that's fine. Like I just want to know that the people who are joining, they're getting their doubts cleared, or if you are not having a doubt, then like you know all this, then you can straight ahead tell me, and like I can just do some programs if you want. So that will work as well if anything you want. So but knowing the syntax is like important, that's why I go through the basics, because coordinate started as for people who don't know. So that's why I start from the very basics, and then we get into deeper parts. We haven't gone into any uh, thing very complex, but that's why it's the beginning part, right? So to get you accustomed to C++. So like anything, if you have any issues or that, you can say, like only about 2 classes are left. So if you have to say anything, you might as well say now.
Actually, I think the next class will be on 30th because we are having an exam on
Yeah,
29th as well.
I think I said that at the end of the class only, that we have an exam on 29th and that runs till 4:30. So the next class will be on Sunday, that is 30th of Jan. and your assignments due date will be on that day as well.
Thank you, Vaishnavi.
I guess that's it. So like yeah, we'll leave and like fill the feedback form or like say in Discord if you have any suggestions or anything. Uh, yeah, we'll have a contest, not directly like the next day. Maybe after some assignments and a small quiz, we'll have the contest. Okay, so fine. I mean, just it's not a problem if people don't join. Whoever is joining, they're getting their doubts cleared or understanding things. That's what's important.